All right, we're coming to you live here on the J&B Sports Podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Sarabo Broadcasting. You can watch all your Sarabo Broadcasting and the JB Podcast on any podcast application. But welcome, we are back after a little vacation. John, we were in Florida for
Yep,
a few days.
but
It's good
not
to be
together.
not together, but we're here back on the J&B Sports Podcast as we gear up for this busy time of year. We got a lot to get to. But today we're going to focus mostly on the NCAA tournament and the conference tournaments. So I was watching the. I don't know if you were able to watch it earlier, John. Um, I was watching the Georgia Tech Duke game.
Yeah.
I was watching the Georgia Tech Duke game, and I had money on Georgia Tech to win. So
Hmm.
it's weird. I was watching the first half. It was 31-26 Georgia Tech at the half.
Hmm.
Then I was like, hey, they have a chance of winning this game in the court. I mean, listen, Duke was going to win. Duke's going to go to the tournament and they're going to be a dominant force. They're the best team in college basketball. Whether they won this conference tournament or not, they're going to be a dominant force in the NCAA tournament. But Cooper Flair got hurt.
I saw that.
Cooper Flair got hurt, and that gave him a chance, but they still ended up losing the game. So I didn't end up winning the bet.
Hmm.
But hey, what are you gonna do? Duke's a
Yeah.
really good team. They look like they're gonna go far in the tournament. But I wouldn't be surprised if they. Uh, I would not be surprised if they got bounced in the first couple of rounds either, because you
Hmm.
never know with this tournament how it works.
Yes.
So tell me what you think. What do you think about this NCAA tournament this year? Who do you like? Who do you not like? And
Hmm.
who?
Good question. I haven't really paid too much attention just because I've been running around so much. You know? But that whole thing with Cooper Flag, that's interesting. Well, you
Well,
say he's.
that changes the whole the dynamic of the that changes the whole dynamic of the tournament because he's the best player in college basketball. If he doesn't play, they're saying he will come back and play in the conference tournament, but question is, will he play in the NCAA tournament, which starts
Yeah,
next Thursday?
the, and what do you think? Is he the consensus number one overall pick in this year's NBA draft?
I would think yes.
I was hearing on the fan that the guys from Rutgers could be top five. Those really good freshmen.
Oh, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into Rutgers a little later because I have a couple of thoughts on the game they played last night in double overtime that they lost.
Hmm.
We'll get to that a little later. But I
But
just don't. I think everybody's got money on Duke.
hmm.
Duke has a feel that
Hmm.
they feel like they can win the whole thing.
Hmm.
But there's another team that I feel like can go really far, and that's St. John's.
I was gonna say I like the little run they're having this year.
But again, it doesn't mean anything when it comes down to the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Doesn't mean anything because remember, it's not like baseball, it's not basketball where you have more than one chance to win the series.
Yeah.
It's one game. It's not like football. Well, football is another level. But when it comes down to college basketball, anything could happen.
Yeah. Who do you think will be our St. Peter's this year? The team that makes a wild long run. That's like a very low seed.
I will give you that answer on Sunday. I still want to see the finals, the conference tournament winners. I'd like to see
Hmm.
who wins. Well, I like to see the bracket first, and then I'll give you an answer. But I think Drake has a chance of going far.
Hmm.
Omaha has a chance, maybe.
Who was it? Them that the conference championship game didn't even matter the other day because our team in the final is in the middle of their D1 transition.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in. I thought that was a wild story going into that game.
Right. I just got breaking news.
Yeah?
Well, this is a little off topic. Not that it matters because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. Chiefs and Gardner Minshew agree to a contract.
I saw that.
I just saw that right now.
That's an interesting little pickup.
Not that it matters because Mahomes is still the team anyway. So.
Yeah, he's played on bad teams enough, so now he wants to go to the best team and finally get the ring.
And I don't think the Chiefs are the best team anymore. I don't think. I don't think. I don't think the Chiefs and the Eagles are that good. I think they're. I think the Eagles took a big hit in the offseason. I really do. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that another day. Today, I want to focus just on the conference tournaments and the. And the actual tournament. We'll know Sunday who's in the actual tournament because Selection Sunday is this Sunday.
Yep. We actually have a double overtime. We have an overtime game going right now. Texas Tech against Texas, or Texas A&M against Texas. They're currently in overtime, 78-73.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did I just take you off the screen?
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah. So we'll know Sunday who's in the tournament. I think it's going to be a fun tournament. I think it sucks because Rutgers is not going to make the tournament. I think that takes a humongous hit because Rutgers had two of the best players in college basketball on the team this year. And guess what? Rutgers is not going to make the tournament. So how does that look for the NCAA where Rutgers, who had the best two recruits in basketball, don't make the tournament? I sometimes I feel like the NCAA rigs Rutgers a little bit because they just feel like Rutgers is not, they feel like Rutgers is not on the level of a Duke, Auburn, Tennessee, any of those teams. I'd like to see Rutgers be treated like that eventually one day.
But you have to remember, they play a very tough conference.
That's baloney. That's baloney. The Rutgers had so many opportunities to get to the NCAA tournament this year. They should have beat Kennesaw State. They should have beat Princeton. But guess what? It wasn't fair to them because a lot of those games weren't even on neutral sites. They were on neutral sites. They weren't even played at their home arena. I guarantee you, if Rutgers played at their home arena for that Princeton game, they would have beat them. That's the problem with college basketball that I can't stand. Is they have so many games neutral site, and it's just not fair to those teams that do well at home.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So I think Rutgers took a big hit this year on the schedule.
Well, it doesn't help that you started ranked and finished under 500. If you think about it.
So Rutgers should have been in if you want my opinion, Rutgers should have been in the tournament this year. But they would have their chances are out because if they were going to make it, they would have had to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, they would have to win the whole conference tournament, right?
They would have had to win the whole conference tournament. If they'd gotten to maybe the semifinals, they might have had a chance. But I doubt it because the committee could be rigged sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think it just looks. I mean, St. John's is so that makes up for a little bit of the tri-state area where St. John's is in it. So that helps a little bit.
Yep. I don't even know if any of the other local schools were really that good this year.
But it would have been better if Rutgers was in it because Rutgers had two of the best recruits in college basketball. That looks better because they're marketed better. Rutgers, those two guys, Dylan Harper and Bass Haley. These guys were signing autographs before the season started because of this NIL thing. I told people that was going to be an issue where you can't have players who haven't even played before sign in college. See, I think this whole NIL thing is crazy. You can't have college players signing autographs like that. They're not pros. Yeah. They're not pros.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I just think Rutgers had a huge chance of getting into this tournament this year, and it got rigged. It got rigged, of course.
Oh well.
But I expect Rutgers to come back strong next year.
Where are those two players you think if they go to the draft, they're going to go? Are they top 5 like people are saying?
Let's see. No. Okay, I always said this, and I'm not trying, and I think, who do I think is going to be better? Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. I think Dylan Harper is going to be a better player. But if I had to pick when they're going to get picked in the draft, I think they're going to get 3rd and 4th.
And obviously Cooper Flagg, number 1.
See, that's what I'm saying. You don't even have those two guys in the NCAA tournament this year. So how is that? That doesn't look good. The whole system, like if you're marketing a player like that who's going to be 2nd or 3rd in the NBA draft, you have to put him on the map in the country and put him in the NCAA tournament. And it's not like people said Rutgers didn't have a great season. They were 15 and 16, but remember, they got screwed because they played a lot of games neutral sites. And I'm not a fan of neutral site games. I don't care if it's the Prudential Center. I don't care if it's not Jersey Mike's Arena. There's a big difference between playing at Prudential Center and Jersey Mike's Arena. I know because I've been there. It's a huge difference. So, Rutgers loses to USC 97-89 in double overtime. It was a great game, but Rutgers had so many chances to win this game. Did you watch the game last night?
Nope.
And that's another thing. The game was on Peacock.
Yeah, I don't have Peacock.
Yeah, so you would have to subscribe to Peacock if you wanted to play the game.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, even when I was at Mom, if you didn't go to the game, you had to watch it on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, no, the whole streaming thing has gotten crazy. Like you have to, NCAA tournament I understand because there's so many games. And conference tournaments I understand. There's so many games too. You can't have it all on the same time. So I understand about the streaming thing, but it's getting a little ridiculous already. You can't charge these people to watch America's games. I mean, come on now. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, like I would put on ESPN and put in the top corner Peacock for how you were watching it.
I mean, what are we talking? And NFL has had the same. I mean, NFL makes so much money that they decided to put their playoff games on some streaming services too. That's insane. That's insane.
Like there was Peacock games. Was there a Netflix game or was it? There
was a Netflix game.
I know there was a Prime game.
Yeah. So we'll have wall-to-wall action for you on Sunday. I'll do a. I don't know if John will be around, but I'm going to definitely do a conference selection Sunday preview. So I will have I'll discuss the brackets. It's kind of hard to say right now about the tournament itself because we don't have the teams. We don't have the full bracket yet. We
Yeah,
know Duke's going to the tournament. We know Auburn's going to the tournament. We know Tennessee's going to the tournament. St. John's, Florida, etc., etc.
yeah,
We know that some of the teams in the conferences that not everybody watches have punched their tickets already, like Drake. Uh,
yeah.
who
The
else?
lesser
Lamar.
conferences have.
Right. The conferences that don't that are not as popular as like the AACC, SEC, Big Ten.
Like
So we'll
what,
have that
2A
more
or
on Sunday.
something, or 1A, something like the mid-level, mid-major.
Correct. Yeah, that the mid majors. Right. The mid major schools. But we'll have a full selection Sunday preview on Sunday, which is going to be fun. It's always a good time of year because I always thought, I don't know if you felt the same way, John, that once you hit the NCAA tournament, spring is here, summer's around the corner, the
Yep,
weather gets warmer,
yep.
baseball starts in a couple of weeks.
Yep, these next 2 weeks are going to be jam-packed on your TV. You have March Madness basically every hour.
Not just you can't forget about CIT, NIT. The NIT is a big deal now.
Yeah, and then I heard someone, Boomer and Geo, this morning that the Big East, Big Ten, and someone else combined for another tournament or something.
Oh, the Big Ten and the ACC. No, was it the ACC and the SEC, or the Big Ten and the ACC? Somebody wanted to merge.
And to like make a tournament for whoever didn't make it. I was just listening to Boomer and Geo this morning, and they were talking about it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but this is going to be a couple. This is the couple of weeks where you're going to have the college basketball, baseball. Eventually, you'll have the NBA playoffs. This college basketball season will be over before the playoffs start. So then you get into the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Um, then you got the Masters. You have
Mhm.
yeah, and then before you know it, it will be summer, and then before you know it, you're into MLB playoffs and all that stuff again. So this is the part of the year where it gets busy. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so once the Super Bowl hits, then it's a slow season for the next few weeks, and then it gets busy.
Yep. All until spring training begins. That's really when it gets slow after the 1 week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I went to a spring training game, and you did too. I went to the Met spring training facility in Florida recently, and I gotta say, I, I was not impressed by the Mets facility at all.
Hmm.
I think the Yankees is way better, and I
Hmm.
expect it to be way better because the Yankees are the more dominant team,
And of
more
course, the Yankees just renovated that place.
more dominant team overall in
Yeah.
terms of history, and I expect it to be. They have the most fans in the world. You know.
Where's your friend so you can start the 27 ring conversation again?
Oh no, I know. There's no debate. It's true. I could show you the two stadiums. The two stadiums are totally different. The Yankees is more of like a for somebody for a team that has the most think claims they have all the money in the world. The
Hmm.
Mets. I was not impressed by that spring training facility. I thought there'd be a lot more to it. Yankees is great.
Hmm.
Yankees is great.
Hmm.
I was not impressed by the Mets. I was not impressed by the Mets. I also think a part of it is the area where the Yankees are located is better because Tampa is a big city. Port
Hmm.
St. Lucie is there's nothing around there. So I do
Yeah.
understand that. So I think the Yankees was way better.
Hmm.
What do you think, John, about your visit to spring training recently?
I'll agree that the Mets facility could be better. I actually think I like the Astros Nationals facility better than the Mets.
Yeah, I mean West Palm is nice.
Yeah, and there you at least have one side it's the Nationals, the other side it's the Astros. And of course, when I was there, I met the most hated player, visiting player in Yankees history, in Jose Altuve. And he was actually a very nice guy.
You met Altuve. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, he's.
He's actually very nice.
I'm sure he is, but he
If he
loves
didn't,
he loves trash cans.
yes, if he didn't sign my ball or take a picture, I would have said you stole MVP from Judge. He should
Hmm.
have 3 right now.
Yeah.
But they're a lot more friendly at the Astros camp. Like they would say hi. They will all stop if you ask them to sign or for a picture. Like even Altuve, when we met him, he just finished taking outfield practice on the day he was playing in the backfields. Like
Right.
how often do you get that kind of access anywhere?
Hmm.
I am a big fan though. Like you won't get access to these players when they're up here.
Right. I totally agree with you. But I have to say, the one thing I liked about the Mets is the outfield. The outfield was nice.
You, did you see
It
that firm?
it reminded me of Blue Claws a little bit.
Yeah. I never will sit out there though. I need an actual seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we sat in an actual seat, but we got booted out of our seats because somebody was sitting there. We didn't really think it mattered because it was a spring training game. We didn't take it seriously. But we saw a couple innings. We saw a couple innings. We
Like
did
you
see
want to
so.
leave after a little bit.
Yeah, I can't sit through more than 3 innings at a spring training game. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not the biggest spring training fan. I think a couple innings is good, but after that, it just gets a little tedious.
Like you want to watch the stars play, but when they're out,
You want to see Soto up, you want to see Lindor up, you want to see Alonso up, but once you see players come around in the sixth inning that you never seen before,
yeah, guys trying to
um,
make the team.
yeah. We have a guest that wanted to join. I don't know where he went. Somebody was popping up on here, but we lost him. I don't know.
Something interesting actually just popped up on Twitter, Brandon. Do you want?
You there, John?
Yeah, something very interesting on Twitter. Do you want to be a part of a practice squad to play the Marlins Low A affiliate?
You there, guys?
Yep.
Okay, I think I lost you. I'm sorry. I technical difficulties. Um, wait.
Brandon. So I was listening to the show.
Wait, hold on. Okay, you were listening to the show, okay?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show, and I was listening to it. You guys were talking about how you don't care about spring training.
We don't. No. Well, I don't.
So for me, I think spring training's a big joke. It's a
Okay.
way to get the players prepared for the season, but at the end of the day, let's be real with ourselves. You don't need to play a 9 inning game to get ready for the season. It's not
There's
like
just way too
football
many games.
where you're trying to decide who's going to get the last cut. You know who's going to be your starting nine. You may have question marks within depth or your rotation, but at the end of the day, when it comes to spring training, who cares realistically? It doesn't need to be a month worth. The season could start the season could start tomorrow if they wanted to. Spring training is just a way. I don't know. I guess you could say maybe make extra money, but at the end of the day, I get where Brandon's coming from. Spring training, it doesn't mean anything. It's no need for it to go on a month playing all these games.
I just think there's too many games. I mean, you don't need to play 30 spring training games. It doesn't make sense because just here's what if I'm Rob Manfred, I have a idea that I would put into place. I would do 1 game a week or 2 games a week. Two spring training games a week. And that's more than enough to get ready for the season. What is there, 4 weeks before what is there, 4 weeks from the start of spring training to opening day?
Just about.
Something like that, 4 or 5 weeks.
And if you think about it in this aspect, a lot of these guys are getting hurt. Sean Maena is hurt. Jeff McNeil is hurt. So we don't need these games. We don't need spring training games, honestly. Maybe a 5 games or so, but to have like 20 games of spring training, the guys know how to play. We don't need to have these games. I know Lindor's on the Mets. I know Judge is going to be a Yankee. I know Cole, who's now hurt. I know my stars are playing. It's just for guys that don't have a roster spot or you want to see if they can make the cut. But other than that, I don't think there needs to be a need for this extended spring training. I think cut it down. There's no need for it. But
just too much.
Thanks for taking my call. Big fan of the show, and I listen to you every Thursday whenever you guys have the show. So again, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. We listen to you guys as well. We appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
All right, we'll keep in touch. Thank you, guys.
That was a caller, Doug, calling for to tell us about spring training. And listen, it's just too much. It's too many games. I don't think you need all these spring training games to get ready for a regular season. Because remember, there's 162 regular season games.
Yep.
Just warm up. Listen, I've noticed there's 30, what is that, about 30 spring training games?
Something like that.
Okay, even with 30 spring training games, they're still not ready for the regular season. Because it still takes them a good month or two to get ready to go. So I would cut this spring training down to maybe 2 games a week. You don't need to do 30 games a week. That's just way too many. 30 games for the spring training. That's way too many.
And even more ridiculous, next year's going to be even longer. You have the WBC back next year.
Oh, yeah, and just hopefully, if you're a Met fan, you hope that Edwin Diaz isn't pitching it again.
He wants to pitch in it, he said.
Yeah, and we all know what happened with him last time.
Yep. And even if you back to Langford spring training, that you see like the visiting team, none of the stars travel, or maybe 1 or 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Yankees were in West Palm last week.
Yes.
And probably barely any of their stars traveled to those games. I'm going to look for their starting lineup from last weekend in West Palm and Jupiter and tell you their lineup.
Wait a second. John,
Yeah.
was this show live on Facebook or is it not?
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, no, it's locked, so no one could see it, which is good. That means it's not ready. It's not live yet. Good. Okay.
So back to what I was saying with
Yeah.
Stars not traveling. Here's the Yankees lineup from last Sunday in Jupiter. Ben Rice DHing, Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm, Dominguez, Escarara. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. Cabrera, Peraza, Mungia, and Ellis. With Cookie Carrasco pitching. Like, how many of those people, besides some of the top, you actually know, right?
Right. Right.
And how about that? Cookie might actually make the Yankees opening day rotation because Cole's out for the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even when they played the Astros in West Palm, looked like the same exact lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Chisholm, Volpe, Rice, Dominguez, Cabrera, Pablo Reyes. Here's one of the few minor leaguers you would know. Spencer Jones.
Spencer Jones, I think he's going to be a really good player. He's a lefty who could hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's what you're looking for. If
But
you're
like
a
I
Yankee.
said, he's the one minor leaguer you actually know in the Yankee organization
Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy thing with how long spring training is. You
Yeah.
could go and they could fill their lineup with like 7 minor leaguers.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Maybe like the starting pitcher, that's it.
Yeah. So it looks like we're out of time. We didn't get to all what we wanted to today. My phone's gonna die, so I got to go ahead and charge it.
That
No,
would have
I'm
been
just
smart, Brandon, to charge it before.
no, I'm just kidding. My phone's not dying. No, but we really are out of time. We hit the 30-minute mark, so we don't want to go because I want to spread this out. I don't want to do too much in one show. I want to be able to spread it, for next week. Maybe this weekend we'll do something. So I want to spread it out.
Depending on
probably-
what time you want to do it Sunday, I should be free after I have baseball.
We'll see how it progresses. We'll first see what the selection committee selects, and then
Yeah, we'll do like a recap show.
we'll try to be live on the air right following the selection show.
Yeah.
All right, John. This has been a great show. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Good night.